Hello and welcome, Virgo, to the Zodiac series. This is for October. Thank you so much for being here. Keep in mind these are collective and general, so receive what aligns, release what doesn't. Never give your power away to a reading or outcome. Remember, you're conscious creator and you shift and change your timeline with your free will choice, which we're going to talk a lot about here in your spread. But before I get into that, I just want to share a message that came forward from Spirit when I was looking for the decks I wanted to use for this series. This popped out, and it's the lid of a candle, and it's the Be Fearless candle. And it speaks about the importance of pollinators. So this is just a little message to maybe inform yourself more about the importance of pollinators, maybe the magical significance of the bee, the attributes of the bee that are something that we can be inspired by, but also looking at ways in which we are maybe unintentionally harming the pollinators within, our communities, and how we can support and benefit and help, the pollinators, because obviously pollinators are very important in our experience, and it's important to also, live in harmony with nature. So this was a message that wanted to come through for this this series. But let's get into it. Okay. All right. Virgos, deep breath. Deep breath. Okay. I can feel you. I understand. Okay. I get it. Trust me. I get it. You start out with fire cider, and it's dwell in the medicine that exists to protect the spirit. This is about, there's two different parts to this. One is your diet and what you're taking in. Okay. Your mental diet. What are you focusing most of your attention on? Because that's what you're feeding. Now, if you are focused on things that are, and it's good to be well informed and be supportive and know what's going on, 100%. But if you don't balance that out, it's going to affect you energetically negatively, but also emotionally, mentally, and sometimes physically. It could lower your immune system, kick up your fears and your anxieties even more. So make sure that you're setting boundaries with yourself of what you are taking in, how much you are consuming, because you want to be that energy where you influence the spaces that you go into, that you don't absorb all of what is happening right now. Okay. So that is a message that's important here. And I'm getting goosebumps saying that because this was a huge message that I needed to learn. I had to go through all of this with what's going on now. And with that fire cider energy, this is also about food being our medicine, and looking at like what we're taking in also physically into our bodies, and is it supporting our immune system? Is it healthy for us? Is it something our bodies want right now? Because oftentimes we can become stressed and triggered, and then we will turn to things that are unhealthy. So this is about turning to things that are healthy. Okay. Turning to things that are supportive, and focusing on your wellness here, okay, with this fire cider energy here. So this is also about protecting your energy. Make sure that you are protecting your energy, that you are having those, focusing on those energetic practices to shield yourself, okay? You can do that by literally just visualizing a golden bubble surrounding yourself. There's many different ways. And what I'm sensing for most of you Virgos is you're getting into this more. Like, you are coming out of the spiritual closet, out of the witchy closet. You are looking into the energetic and the spiritual more, and how to empower yourself. And I encourage you to continue to do that, because it is an untapped power in you, some of you. And so you're looking into that here with this fire cider energy. But the other message with the fire cider energy is also that you have this embodied wisdom, and to look at the resources, the tools, what you already know, and apply that. Because oftentimes we're looking outside of ourselves for all the answers, not realizing we have many of them within, right? That we have the solutions, we have the tools, right? So it's like, utilize the tools that you have. It's like, even if like you were going to go shopping and you were like, oh, we need this, 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 and this, and you don't check what's in the fridge or in the cabinet, you already have it. It's like, work with what you have. You have a lot of value, you have a lot of wisdom, you have a lot of power, a lot more power, I think, than you realize. Okay. The other message that's coming through here is, am I consistently showing up? Some trade their dreams for comfort, yet comfort is the enemy of progress. Success requires showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, and even when it feels uncomfortable. It takes guts and an endless vision to stay consistent in your dream. And today's soul action is journal where you can be more consistent in your life in alignment with your soulful goals, then show up. Okay. A lot of this is about showing up for yourself. Okay. Showing up for yourself here. Now we get into the themes, and these are the fortune cards. So just take this lightly. We have bad health and we have thoughts. So to me, that is like, again, what we're focusing on is we're feeding, and we're also taking it into our system, right? It's like energy exchange, but not always a healthy one. So bad health and thoughts, it's connecting back in with where we're focusing our energy, right? And the power of our thoughts. And our thoughts are incredibly powerful, right? So for some of you, if there's something going on with you physically that you feel like you need to check out, definitely do that. But more so, I think this is about managing and coming back to that harmony and balance within yourself so that you can focus your thoughts on what you want to create, so that you can pour your energy into what you want to create, right? Rather than into stress or into fear, into outcomes that you don't desire. So it's like you're tapping into more of your spiritual power and the wisdom, and you're coming out of the closet with that, right? A little bit more. Maybe you're still in the closet and you're just exploring it, right? But you'll find that, like, when the ego gets a hold of our thoughts, because the ego wants to protect us, it wants to keep us from moving forward. It's kind of designed to do that. It's a part of who we are, right? But it is important that you're able to focus in on and kind of bring yourself back into your body, ground yourself in, come from an aligned place, right? Honor how you feel. It's important to honor how you feel, but be aware of how your thoughts are creating your reality and how your thoughts are affecting your health. Okay. That's a big thing coming through here. It could also be that if you're married or you're with a partner, they're concerned about you. They're concerned about how much you're taking in and how it's affecting you right now. Now just wait. Okay. So yes, take the best care of yourself. Make sure you're getting, plenty of rest and, receiving the support that you require. Some of you might be inspired by things that, you're seeing, and instead of, being disempowered, it's empowering you to create or to alchemize or to look at, how you can bring forth value into kind of what is happening, right now. So creating could be something that's really powerful, something that's really helpful for you, Virgo. So it's just a message of making sure that you come back to your center, you come back to balance, you get out of your head and into your heart space, you feel how you feel, you express it, maybe with your partner, maybe with a friend, maybe with a therapist, you receive that assistance and that support, right? That's really important here. Now, when I asked how you can bring more fun into your experience, we have the Six of Wands and we have the High Priestess, okay? So there is some you sharing. You're like the sneaky psychic here. Like, you're going to be sharing some things that show that you're quite intuitive, and it feels like you're going to be honored within those too. Even if you're just dabbling, you're just starting to play with oracle cards, tarot cards, learning about energy, just trying and practicing these new skill sets, and it's like you're going to be really shining. People are going to notice with that Six of Wands. That's public recognition, right? So that's something that's important. And I feel like it's fun for you. It's empowering. Look at that look. It's empowering for you, right? And it's something that you are exploring, is the strength within you. And there's a sense of having lightness, right? Lightness about it. But some of you are called to tap in because you want to connect in with your intuitive wisdom. You want to see beyond the illusions. You want that High Priestess power, right? So you are kind of on this path with the Six of Wands, and you're having fun, you're enjoying it. Some of you, maybe you're just even, that's what you are. You're going to a costume party maybe, and that's the way that you are, embodying this energy, is like you're wearing, like a witchy outfit or something like that just is really fun for you, and you're really shining. People are like, oh, that really suits you, or whatever it is. It's like you're having fun, you're playing with your magic, you're playing with your abilities, you're learning, and you're enjoying yourself. And other people are noticing that too. They're like, that suits you. That suits you. So where you're at on your timeline here, Virgos, is we have the Nine of Swords, which is about stressing, not This is about like sleepless nights, your anxiety. That's something that's really important to focus on, healing and balancing. Again, completely normal to feel like how overwhelming things are right now, 100%. So again, make sure that you are connecting in with those that are, really loving presence in your life that can assist you and support you, that you're not just keeping this all to yourself. But what you're stressing about is the Two of the Swords is making some sort of decision. Who am I supposed to be at this time? What identity am I supposed to embody to be of service to humanity at this time? Like, that's kind of where you're at. You're going back and forth, and you're kind of battling with yourself. And maybe, if like, again, spirituality was something that was taboo growing up, like that could be something where it's like an old identity wants to shift out so a new identity can come in here. That might be the case for you too. But we also have Temperance, which is about slowing down. Okay, it's about slowing down, alchemizing, healing, taking time. Literally, that's, kind of like taking time to just enjoy the breeze on your face, to enjoy things through your senses. You are healing, you are focusing on healing, right? And kind of bringing things back into balance here. And a lot of that has to do with your mind. I'm like hearing racing thoughts of like you being worried about what other people think. You're worried about being judged, you're worried about this, you're worried about that. And it's like, come back to you, right? Or come back to you and your connection with your partner with this Temperance. Like, there's a lot of potential to heal and be empowered and playfulness, right? But it is important that you come back to like your center, come back to your empowerment, come back into your body, right? Out of the mind, into the body. Have practices to regulate your nervous system, to help you with anxiety. There's so many healers, there's so many therapists, there's so many people out there that can bring in that love and support for you. And there's also a lot of free content information out there of just like little like body hacks that you can utilize to help yourself, with dealing with anxiety. Or, there's a lot of professionals putting really helpful tools out there for free online that you can access and implement into your experience to help you to balance and to come back into your body and to make decisions from an empowered place, right? And not only that, just to live with a more regulated nervous system and to enjoy that. But yes, this Temperance card is also about having compassion and patience with yourself at this time. We had that, am I consistently showing up? Are you showing up for yourself, right? Are you being a friend to yourself right now? Or are you allowing things to, again, dysregulate you all the time, or, have you turn to bad habits because of stress, right? So that's what I feel the message really is here. And again, like, it's quite normal right now to be feeling overwhelmed and stressed and dysregulated. That's what they want. So be the rebel. Take good care of yourself, utilize those tools, tap into your spiritual magic and power, because you are. I can feel it. I got goosebumps. I love it, right? And what's really interesting too is like for your oracle card here, Virgos, we have zombie control. So you have a shadow side coming forward. Not a bad thing. Shadow is good. Shadow is where a lot of our potential and power comes from. It's something to integrate in. It's not necessarily something that is bad, right? People associate the shadow with bad, and that's not the case. The shadow is what we don't know yet about ourselves. So this is this part of you that's emerging. But the other message that's coming through is, especially if you're overwhelmed and you're taking in all this information and you're dealing with things, not even just like online, but in your own communities right now. Take a break. Whew. Goosebumps. Come back to your center. Connect back in with yourself, right? And look at what is in your control. What is in your, I don't like the word control. What is within your influence? Where are your strengths? And when you start there, and maybe make a list, right? Maybe make a list and be like, okay, this is within my influence. Things that are outside of your influence, don't focus so much on. Focus on what is within your influence. That way you're not feeling at the effect of things, but you are the creating energy. You are the empowered energy moving forward, right? And I feel like a physical like representation of that would be helpful. Like actually like a circle. Be like, this is what's in my control, or this is what's in my this is what's in my influence, and writing that in. And this is how I can make a difference, and this is how I can help. These are my strengths. This is in my wheelhouse, writing that in. And then the outside is for what is outside of your control. What is outside of your influence, right? Your thoughts are within your control. Your focus is within your control. Your habits are within your control. Your strengths and how you apply those are within your control. Your creativity is within your control. Your perspective, you're very powerful. The other message that's coming through, because again, the spiritual power is emerging, and I see like this full moon energy. Some of you are going to be connecting with like, full moon intentions and like full moon magic and things like that. That's something else that you might be exploring, or something that might feel like home to you, something that's awakening within you too. Okay. So, Virgos. Okay. So when we get into the charms, you have the Wheel of Fortune. This is again looking at the shifts and changes that are happening, and it's looking at what again is within your influence and what is not. But yes, this is the wheel, represents the Wheel of Fortune, right? The Wheel of Fortune is about things moving forward in a favorable way and putting your focus on that. It's also kind of natural, and sometimes it doesn't take your effort in order for things to shift and change outside, of your experience. It's also reminding me of like the wheel of life and coaching, of looking at these different areas of your life, these different pieces of the pie or the puzzle, and where you're kind of focusing your time and energy, and looking at your life and your experience. But yeah, you're the master. You're the master of your ship. You're the captain. But the Wheel of Fortune is a very prosperous energy to come through. And funny, we have the Wheel of Fortune, which obviously is like per ship, right? And we have the map. So X marks the spot here. So this is again about focusing where you want to go. Maybe some of you want to relocate, travel. But this again could just simply be like where you energetically want to pave the path for yourself. And, for those of you with a family, moving forward, right? And then there is this peace sign here, which talks about protecting your peace, making sure you're taking time for that harmony and peace within your experience and within your day, right? To come back to it, to not lose yourself in the darkness. If you lose yourself and you stare into the void too much, we know what happens, right? We become it. So this is calling you back to your power, calling you back to your experience. Yes, you're dealing with shadow, and that's healthy, and that's like a part of it, right? But making sure that you are coming back to your peace. And especially like I'm seeing like if somebody's sending you a lot of like articles or posts or like reels, and it's like overwhelming you, set a boundary, protect your peace, right? Or take a break from your phone, or whatever it is that you need to do. I do feel like we have the remember we used to do that, riding bikes and like standing on the pegs, right? Moving forward. It's like for many of you, you're moving forward with someone else here too. And you're learning how to trust each other and balance in moving forward and navigating. And then, so there's definitely partnership and working together coming forward here with like a masculine, feminine, possibly masculine, feminine dynamic. But it's trusting, working together, respecting and honoring each other, deciding the direction that you want to go in, staying balanced, as much as you can. And then we have the dinosaur. So that could represent kids, right? That's kind of what I get here, is I think of like, kids' toys. But even when I look at this reminds me of childhood, how we used to ride on the back of bikes, It might even be that bike riding is something that is really healthy and happy and helps you with balancing, could help you with like, a form of an outlet for your energy, like your anxious energy. I find like when I ride my bike, that's helpful. If I've got like a lot of energy or like I have a lot of anxiety, sometimes bike riding, can be helpful. So maybe that's something else to like integrate into your experience. But bike riding is a lot about balance, right? It's also about freedom. But again, it's the two of them working together and trusting each other. So that's what's coming up here. So While you have this power merging within you, Virgo, okay, some of you, again, you're working with someone else here. You have a partner, a husband, a boyfriend, girlfriend, wife. And make sure that you're receiving, what it is that you need, that you're showing up for yourself, giving yourself the best, support, and also setting boundaries with people to protect your peace, and focusing again still on moving forward, still on creating, still on focusing and making those important decisions that feel good, that feel in alignment, with that temperance. But honoring these parts of yourself that are emerging, the spiritual power, this playfulness, this fun, your magic. It's an important time for you. It's an awakening time for you here, Virgo. And I feel like you have a lot of gold to mine within your soul, within yourself, within like your own spiritual gifts and abilities and your own magic. But I also feel like you are paving the path moving forward, you and your partner, for those of you that are partnered up, for your family. And it's something that you want to do with as much harmony and peace as you can, right? But make sure that you establish that sort of thing within yourself, or you have practices to bring yourself into that alignment of harmony and peace first before you take that action moving forward, right? And like with riding a bike, it's just getting out that energy, that nervous energy, right? If that's something that you like to do. But overall, I think metaphorically, that speaks of working together with someone to move forward. Creating through the chaos, Virgo, creating through the chaos. All right, so that's what I have. I hope this brought you value. Again, if it didn't resonate, let it go. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Celebrating you, emerging into your spiritual power, and getting more curious about your gifts and your abilities, and having fun, even with like a playfulness with like Halloween or a costume party or things like that. Continue to show up for yourself. Know that you are worthy, that these things are coming forward because you're worthy. Take the best care of your health and wellness, Virgo. Thank you so much for joining me. Take the best care, and I will see you soon.